Welcome to the channel. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We're going to go over the video that was just released by KICKER Unmasked, about a few products that they have coming along that are coming out in 2021. And we're going to go over specifically the brand new KICKER SOLOX. Oh, and the reason why I have my headphones is so I can watch it with you and I can hear it without a reverb and all that kind of fancy stuff, so you guys can hear the raw footage from the video. Let's go. Oh yeah, KICKER, push, NCs, awesome.
Introduce what you're about to talk about.
Absolutely. I don't know, guys. This is kind of an exciting moment. We get to show you guys something that, you know, we've been talking about all night. We've been working on for years, and I can't stress how much it means to us to be able to do this, and we couldn't do it without your input, your support. So even if you guys just are consumers, you're not a KICKER dealer, your input matters. We listen to everything you say. That's why we've been around for over 40 years, and we're still doing this and still having fun. So without too much more delay, let's introduce to you guys the new, as you requested because you guys wanted it, SOLOX woofer. Oh, no, well, actually, that wasn't fair, was it? You guys know what this is. This has been around a long time. This is that serviceable woofer that we introduced back in 2003. You guys have been asking for this woofer to come back, but there's no reason to bring this woofer back. Even with all the world records it's set, even with all the technology and the patents that were in this speaker, it really lived its time. It had its day, but we need to move on. That's what we do at KICKER. We keep telling you we make it better and better and bigger and badder every time. So it is time to introduce to you, under this white little towel here, and yes, it is about double the weight. So now I need a kidney lawyer. So we start talking about, you know, woofers and what KICKER means and the excitement and, you know, the input from our consumers and, you know, our competitors out there. Well, here it is, guys. You've been waiting for it. Enough torture. Here it is. This is the new L7X competition woofer.
That's pretty.
This thing is incredible. We have been working on this woofer for years. In fact, we're not done yet. This may not be exactly what you get. What's really exciting about tonight and what we're doing here is we've taken the opportunity with this whole live presentation to show you something that we're still working on. We're going to make sure this woofer is absolutely the best it can be before you get it. It's already leaps and bounds over anything we've ever done, and obviously leaps and bounds over, you know, what we think our competitors are doing. This woofer is phenomenal, but here again, it may be a little different once you actually get it, and, you know, a little bit towards the middle to end of the next year. So this woofer follows a few of the traits that we had with the SOLOX woofer. This woofer does come apart. It is field serviceable. We've made some notable improvements. Obviously, this larger surround. This thing has almost 50% more travel or excursion than the last SOLOX woofer.
That's something.
Power handling. It's got a ton of power handling. If you notice this huge roll surround that's still stitched to the cone, this pressed paper pulp cone. The back has even got binding posts for 8-gauge speaker wire to be clamped in place. We all know if you've got a bad connection on, say, a fuse holder, you get a hot spot and it's going to melt and burn up the fuse holder. Same thing. We want to make sure all that energy from your amplifiers is going to go right to this extremely high power handling voice coil, so we don't want any resistance, any hot spots. So we're going to give you this binding post that you can literally tie 8-gauge wire into the speaker. This ultra high temperature, extreme.
Let me talk about that for a second there. That's really nice for whenever you have multiple subwoofers or multiple amplifiers and you're trying to run multiple gauge of wires into the speaker terminal. And I know I've been guilty of it. I've jammed, you know, 2 8-gauge wires into a 12-gauge input, and yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It's not something that you want to do. That's why I like on the older SOLOXs, they had a ring terminal attachment, if you want to call it that, where the push terminal would spin out. So then you can hook a ring terminal, put it on there, and then spin it down, which was nice. And a lot of people don't know about. I didn't know about for a while. You just want to, you know, put your speaker wires in there and run it and just start banging down the street. So that's really nice that that's incorporated so that you don't have to worry about that. Let's keep going.
voice coil is going to have the aluminum voice coil former, dual spiders, just like we talked about before. If we look at the underneath side of this, you've got your hyper-extended pole piece. In fact, we're fortunate enough that we actually have 2 of these in-house. So I like to show them both off because they're... Where'd the other one? Wait a minute. I thought we had... Great Scott, man! I told you 1.21 gigawatts was that much too much. Dang. Oh well. Let's get this one over here, a little bit out of the way. We might as well show you this one. Gigawatts. I mean, we're talking power handling. I mean, 2,000 watts continuous, not gigawatts. I mean, that's a lot of fun. But here again, this woofer is rated at over 2,000 watts of power handling continuous. That's all day long, every day. So if we break this woofer down, well, it's already broken down in another way. So we break the woofer down in its pieces. We talked about that extremely large roll surround, that non-pressed paper pulp cone. You've got your dual spider again. You've got those spring-loaded binding posts and the termination blocks. You've got this hyper-extended pole piece, aluminum voice coil former, triple stack magnet, huge back plate. This thing is a monster, and yes, like you just saw, it is field serviceable. It can be replaced in the field. So we know that when you guys are in the competition lane, you're pushing everything to its limit. If you guys watch NHRA drag racing, you know, those guys are out there, you know, blowing up $80,000 engines on every run in a weekend. Same thing you get when you're in SPL competitions. You're constantly pushing every piece of equipment to its absolute maximum and beyond. Well, we know that you know, you're going to have issues. So we want to make sure that those issues can be solved so you can get back there and set more world records. I pretty much guarantee you these things are going to do it. So what's really cool about this speaker, you start talking about technology. You know, it's not just a huge woofer. There's a lot of really, you know, big woofers out there. But I think you probably heard earlier today, we've got almost 40 people in R&D that do nothing but design everything in-house. Every single piece of this speaker is designed to work together as a massive machine, a massive SPL machine to be precise. So you start talking about magnetic gaps. We all know with magnets, you know, we're playing with them as your little kids. You push them closer together, they get stronger. You pull them apart a little bit, they get weaker. Same thing with the motor structure on a speaker. It doesn't matter if you got the biggest magnet in the world, if you can't focus that energy on the voice coil, it's not going to give you the performance. So you get extremely tight tolerance. So the magnetic gap right here between the top plate and the pole piece where the voice coil moves up and down is very, very tight and precise. Well, when you rebuild this speaker, you want to make sure that you don't have any rubs. Anytime the speaker rubs, that's going to hinder its movement. It's going to sacrifice SPL. It can damage the speaker. It can burn it up. It can short out your amplifier. So we got something else really cool that comes with the replacement cones. And that's what this is. So when you get really frustrated because your speaker's dead, you can actually use it to massage your head and get your thinking cap back on. Not actually. These are actually part of the rebuild kit. These are essential to make sure this speaker is rebuilt precisely and exactly the way it should be. So these will insert into these forced air cooling vents, give you the proper space between the voice coil and the center pole piece and the top plate to ensure this speaker works perfectly every time. Now, the motor on this speaker is extreme.
Now, before we continue, what's really cool about that is I have the original Solox. Well, actually the second generation, but the first and the second were fairly common, were fairly the same with like the motor structure and stuff. All they changed was like the cone material. With this is awesome because whenever you put in your spare cone, you would just set it in there, okay? And at least this is how I do it. I would set it in there, and it's pretty simple to do, but at the same time, there is a little bit of room for error where there's a male piece that sticks up, and then you have to align it over the one female piece, and it's the top basket, the edge of the speaker. On the basket, it sticks up. And on the spare, you just sit it through there like that. So it aligns you pretty much where you want to be. But the coil itself kind of does that too. You know, there's not really much room in the gap. But when you're tightening the speaker down, at least I don't use a BAM. A BAM goes on the back part of the sub, and you kind of put it together, and then you just put the sub in. I don't know, it's a little complicated. I never used one, I never had one. Just read from the manual, seeing kind of what they did, and it seems like a lot of guys do that, where they, you know, they bolt the basket and the motor into the wall, into the four corners, and then separately do the cone, and then do like the remaining 8 screws. So with this is nice because it automatically lines you up to where everything has to be, and then everything just like click assembly. I'm not exactly sure how it clicks together. They didn't really go over that too much in the video from what I've seen. It looks very simple. There's no gluing, there's no, you know, sanding down, grinding, cleaning off anything. So whenever you do happen to blow your sub, or say you get a new amplifier and you want to run, you know, at a different impedance load, say you're trying to reach a certain score, or you just want your system to be louder, well, that's very easy. And that's nice too, because this is more for competitors, and it's also for your above average. So some people might be like, oh well, my amplifier is a 2 ohm amplifier and I want to get the dual 1 and I'll run it at 2 ohms. Well, down the road they're like, well, I either need more power, so I need a different amplifier, and in layman's terms, it's easier to make more power at a lower impedance. So, oh well, I can't run at half ohm, I don't want to buy, you know, some other kind of amplifier, I want a kicker amplifier that is rated at 1 ohm, so I need the dual 2 now. So okay, well, I'll keep the other one as a spare, as a backup. Something happens, I have it, I go purchase another one, I take it out, pull it apart, put it in, 5-10 minutes, you're done, which is just awesome. And that's another thing too, where they've had this, and that was with the original Solox, but over the time, you know, with the whole economy and just the whole people wanting to compete, it's coming back. That's obviously why they're doing this, and that's kind of why they pulled back too in the beginning, where, you know, the demand wasn't there. People weren't all going to Kentucky or Mecca or all this kind of stuff as much as they are now, or just in the past 8 to 10 years. It's slowly growing. Is it as big as it used to be? Probably not, but it's getting there. It definitely is, and it's an entire different generation, so we really don't know exactly what's in the future. So let's watch the rest of the video here. And
really large, it's extremely powerful, and it is designed to set records. And like I say, you know, hats off to our competition, the other guys out there. You know, we couldn't do a product like this without you guys, you know, generating the excitement and the buzz. So we like competition in this industry. It just makes us stronger, it makes everyone else stronger, which gives the consumers a better product in the end. So, you know, I encourage, you know, the other manufacturers out to try to do something like this, because we're just going to come back and stomp you again later. This thing's a lot of fun. So Aaron, I know that we've been talking about this quite a bit. I'm sure those switchboards are lighting up back there, their computer screens.
So there are some folks in the audience that don't know why Square technology. Why Square, John?
All right. Well, first of all, let's back up to the 70s and 80s. My time. You know, that was a long time ago. Yes, I was doing retail in the 80s. We did not invent the Square speaker. I mean, Square speakers have been around since the 60s and 70s. They were a flat honeycomb disc. They were a woofer. What Kicker did, what Steve and the guys in R&D pioneered and perfected, is the dedicated deep dish Square subwoofer. That's where we perfected this technology, and the whole reason behind Square speakers is surface area. Just remember, this is, you know, we call it a speaker cone, but another name for this is called a piston. Well, you know, cars have pistons in their engine. They move air. That's exactly what this does. They don't talk about round or square pistons in an engine. It's just a piston. Same thing with the speaker. All this has to do is move air. Because it's square and we have it rounded off the corners, you gain over 20% more cone area than a conventional round speaker. You couple that with the longer travel, it's just like your engine having more bore and more stroke. You get more power out of it. Well, now we get more pressure, we get more bass, we get more out of it. it that way. The other advantage of having multiple square speakers is as you bolt them together on a baffle, they become one solid cone. You don't have the spaces in between, so as the speaker moves up, that center space is not moving. It actually draws the pressure back, and you actually sacrifice some output. So multiple square speakers on the same plane are going to have better mutual coupling for more output overall, and once again, more bass and higher numbers. So we didn't invent the square speaker, but we perfected the square dedicated subwoofer. And like I say, if you want bass, you want all the bass, this is going to be your ticket.
Thank you, John. Now, we have some special guests who want to do a live Q&A at the end of this presentation. So, in an effort to get to that part of the presentation, I just have one more question for you. Will this play below 40 hertz?
Oh, yeah. That's been a big joke for a long time. Does it play below 40 hertz? Well, to tell you how well this plays below 40 hertz, resonant frequency, if you're not familiar with that is, that's the frequency to which something moves the easiest. Every speaker has a resonant frequency. Now, speakers can generally play a couple octaves above and below that resonant frequency. The resonant frequency of this driver is in the low 30s. So yes, it's going to play well below 40 hertz. In fact, it does its best bass well below 30 hertz. And like I say, I think you're going to agree too that this has all that low bass you're looking for. I just hope your vehicles are ready to take it.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that. We're going to now Kip it. Kip, are you still there? Kip, because people want to win. Can they win? Win a Solo X?
Of course I'm here, Aaron. Why wouldn't I be here for the most awesome, final, big news reveal that everyone has been waiting for during this whole show? Of course I'm here. You know, there's a lot of people out there who are watching that couldn't talk about this. They're actually under an NDA, which is kind of fun on my part because I get to share great information and they can't say a word about it. But here's the deal. They can talk about the Solo X now. So you can describe it, you can talk about it. The Solo X is up for grabs and you can certainly discuss it. And we're going to have fun talking about it here in the after show because I'm sure that's going to be the star with the icons of 12 volt joining us. Now, we are going to actually give away to a lucky winner
All right, I think we'll cut right there because that was the live video, and you can no longer win that. Sorry. But yeah, let's just talk about the new Solo X and pros and cons. I mean, the pros, we got spare parts again, got spare drop-ins and all that kind of stuff. Which you know, coming from a guy that ran Kicker for 7, 8, 9 years, which is awesome. You know, because I've had my situations where I was, you know, dumb, sounded loud, sounded good, turned it up a little too loud. There goes the cone. Where am I going to find another one of those things at? You know, so that in itself is awesome. They're also working on some other great things that they mentioned in the live video towards the end with the commentary of EXO, Big D, Rob, Dean from 5 Car Stereo, and who else was it? Oh yeah, how can I forget? Steve and Travis Young from JY Power. And they were all talking about everything with the new products, the Solo X, and they also, you know, said a few things of other things that are coming, which I know about that I cannot say, which drives me nuts. But so far, this is awesome, you know, and had a pretty good reveal. We had a pretty good result of what people thought of the Solo X, and they were pretty happy. Now it's called the L7X. I want to say it just with the L7X is just because it's an L7, you know, and that's what a lot of people would call my kicker, my Solo X. They'd be like, oh, what is that, L715 or an L718? You know, it's like, nah, bro, that's a Solo X. So maybe that's why they're doing that, or maybe it's because there's, you know, something else with a different name. Who knows? But yeah, that's the L7X. And thank you for watching. I'll put the link below of this live video that you can watch on YouTube or Facebook. I'll try to link both of them. It's about 5 hours long, so pull out some popcorn. A lot of cool stuff that they go over. And we'll try to do some more videos like this, definitely whenever anything else comes out, or, you know, anything fun. Trying to get this video out earlier than I usually do, just because this happened Friday on the 23rd. So I had to get this out, you know, just get to the meat and the bones, you know. It's like, oh yeah, that's the new Solo X, you know. Couldn't tell anybody for 2 years now for me. I always heard through the grapevine, oh yeah, they'll probably do another one, but never heard until heard from a reliable source, and I was like, oh, okay, I can wait. I'm excited. So, but yeah, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe. Like a lot of YouTubers, a lot of my views are from non-subscribers, and I'm trying to do this, you know, having family and kids and crazy lifestyle, you know, and everything else going on. Try to post up videos and relatable content and good videos, you know, not just something that's just, you know, run of the mill. So I'm trying to think outside of the box with things. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.